So for me, one of the big differences from a culinary perspective, like from a like cooking technique, I think China in Chinese food, we're often talking about the 入味. It's just like letting the flavor go in the elements. If you're cooking chicken or beef or anything, if you're making a stew or anything, you want the flavor of your sauce, which is already quite strong flavored, to go in the meat to have the flavor inside. In France, it's kind of the opposite. We're often like trying to extract the flavor of the ingredients into the sauce. That's why French sauces are so famous, and that's I think sauce is the most representative element of French cuisine. And for example, if you want to do a meat juice in France, you're going to use big quantity first of bones to do a brown stock. So extract the flavor of the bones, the meat, and the vegetable in the soup, and then use this stock, fry some meat, and just use the Maillard reaction, like the browning of the meat, this kind of flavor to extract the meat flavor to get a little bit of juice. And that's why the sauce now a lot of restaurants don't do it themselves because it's very expensive to do. You need a lot of meat to end up with just a little
The
kind of a
demi-glace. Yeah.
concentrate of meat flavor. But that's one thing that's very important in French cuisine, trying to extract the flavor. While in China would be kind of the opposite, it's trying to get the flavor in the elements. So I think that's from a conceptual perspective, that's a big difference. And also in Chinese cuisine, there's a lot of immediacy. It's quite fast for many dishes. It's quite a fast cooking method. Big fires, very quick. Chefs have to be very, very sharp and very quick in their seasoning.
On
If you go
point.
to
Yeah.
a restaurant, I don't know if you stayed in the kitchen of a Chinese restaurant, but it's something to see. It's really impressive, really fast, really seems very so. Can understand it's a tiring work in China, but in France it's kind of the opposite. We take a long time. First you put something, so you're gonna fry some onion garlic. You put a bottle of wine. You reduce. Then it takes 30 minutes to reduce. Then you add some brown stock. Then you reduce again for 30 minutes. Then you add some cream. Then you reduce again. So in French cooking, it's a lot like step by step building the flavor, while in Chinese cuisine, it's much more immediate. So I think that's a big difference in the concept. And for what's similar, I think the main for me is just the passion of just the people, the passion of the people for food. Both in China and in France, food is something extremely important in our daily life, something that cannot be put aside. And I think that's kind of what like the passion for of people for food in the end is the main thing that's gonna push chefs to do better.